Hi, my name is Alison Thompson. I live on the Upper East Side. On September 11th, when I turned the TV on, the first plane had hit the tower. So I got my medical kit and my rollerblades, and I rollerbladed down to the World Trade Center. I got there just after the first tower had fallen, and I started rollerblading into the smoke, into the white smoke, and tried to rollerblade over all the dust and rubble. And I went in and I bumped into a body, and then I felt his pulse and he wasn't breathing. So I got down and I gave CPR to the guy, and I started yelling and screaming for someone to help. And eventually, two EMS workers came and helped. And then I got up and started going further towards the tower, where the tower had been. And people were coming out through the streets screaming. There was a lot of blood on people's heads, a lot of burns. And it was a chaos, but it was an organized chaos. People were really helping each other and moving very quickly out of the streets. And I have nursing background from many, many years ago, so I knew that I had to help, and I had to go in further to see if anyone needed help. So I went further down, and I came to a big pile right near the base, and there was someone reaching out of the pile. So I went over to the pile and I reached their hand, and I grabbed their hand and pulled it towards me, and then I realized I was just holding a hand. Then I screamed and I dropped the hands, and I started walking around, and then all the police, the firemen were running around, and people were yelling, go north, it's going to calm down, go north. And everybody, there was a great rumble, and then the North Tower began to fall, and we all started to run for our lives. And we ran, and then at a certain stage, we dived under cars for cover, and we just put our jumpers over our heads, and then just tried to breathe. We waited for like about 10 minutes, and then the air started to clear, and I just started to get up and walk back in towards where the center had been. It was like a whiteout, like a snow whiteout. It was very, very quiet, and all you could hear were little beeps, these little beeping noises. Anyway, everyone was being pushed out further and further, back out, up north, and we were pushed up north where they could arrange medical teams, and they were making civilians into military people and organizing people into groups. And then I was on one of the first medical teams that went back in, and we went back down there, and we lived in the streets for 5 days and nights. We slept in the streets and just tried to do what we could to find the bodies, and we couldn't really do much in the medical terms because there wasn't anyone alive. We filled the body bags, and we looked after the rescue workers, and I started a triage center in Firehouse 10, and over the course of the first 5 days, we just took my camera out every now and then, took some photos, and one of the main photos in the exhibition is a construction worker. They'd been digging, the iron workers had been digging and digging for hours because we could hear someone underground tapping an SOS code that they were still alive. And so they were digging and digging and digging on our hole, but they couldn't find them. And it was about 5 hours into the digging. He was having a rest, and the iron worker was just leaning on a rock, and I took the photo of him with what was left of the World Trade Center behind him. We had to evacuate because another building was coming down, so we all fled, and we came back, and there was no more tapping from underground. That was just one of the stories. There's a lot of different stories about that week. A lot of bad stories which I don't want to tell you because then it's going to be in your head. It's going to be in your head too, and that wouldn't be fair. Anyway, that's all I really have to say, except that out of so much evilness and so much bad things that happened, so many good things happened, such hope, and it restored my faith in mankind. And what I want to say is that there really is hope for mankind, and I hope that this sort of thing doesn't happen again.